But that's what I mean, like people are getting on that.
A few teachers have asked for this, so I wanted to hear.
One of them, Todd made one of his activities.
Hey, did you?
I don't like staring at a computer all day.
Totally understandable.
Have you done a Zoom or a Google Meet with your kids?
I'm actually doing one at 10 today. We do a daily Flipgrid, and that is the best part of my day.
Oh,
good.
Hey,
Doing a
Alicia.
Google Meet today.
Well, you'll have to let us know how the Zoom goes today.
I've heard a lot of teachers
Okay.
have really liked it.
I'm
I'm
excited.
getting ready, so I'm not going to show myself.
That's fine. You don't have to turn on your cameras. I don't think I have even access to do that. Let's see.
You don't.
yeah.
I can only ask you to start your video. I can't actually turn it on. See,
I'll be grateful for that.
I'll ask
Yeah.
you. See, I just sent you an ask.
I'm not going to do it.
Totally fine.
All right. Thanks, Maddie. Thanks, Doreen, for putting your name in the chat. Let's see, who else was in there?
Alicia's in there.
Alicia.
So we need Alicia to put, if you wouldn't mind opening the chat, putting your name, your grade, and your school.
That'd be cool if we could, like, if we were in an hour for this, let's say, and a teacher comes back and does, 7 or 8 of these with us. Could we count that as seat work and give them some credit or something,
Some credit for it, yeah.
I wonder if we could do something like that during the year next year.
How would you all feel about that? As we keep doing these things, if you come to it, you could get some USB-E credit for it.
That would be pretty awesome.
That might be something cool. Something we can have to look into.
Yeah, we'll have to check on that.
I mean, I'm not sure if we can do it for this year. We haven't set up, but maybe for next year, instead of like face-to-face, we could do something virtual too.
Yeah.
Huh. All right.
Well, and as we are recording these chats, we know who's in here, so.
Exactly. So we can keep attendance that way.
Keep attendance, yeah.
That'd be cool. All right. And in the chat, as I'm already putting some things, if you have questions, go ahead and put your questions in there. Our format for today is going to be just kind of starting off with the basics of like, hey, I don't know anything, and just kind of creating a Google form for any kind of assessment, formative or summative. So you have that chat feature. Other digital coaches are there with us, and they'll be answering questions as we go. Are we ready to rock?
I think we're good.
All right. All right, let's do this. Recording, you got it. Sweet. Okay, here we go. So welcome everyone. I'm Charles. I'll be your digital coach for the day. Let's get started with Google Forms. So I open up my Google Drive, and this first part, say just watch, follow along. You don't need to follow along, just kind of watch what we're doing. We are recording this, and we will put this on our website for later, as well as the chat. Remember, ask questions in the chat. We'll try and answer those as we go. So first off is how do we create a new Google form? I'm going to come out to the new button in my drive, and you don't see forms here, but if you click on more, just scroll over more, you'll see it says Google Forms. I'm going to click on that, and it says I'm already in a shared folder. I want to create and share this with those already on that folder. You bet, that's fine. Kind of a little sample folder for me anyway. So this is going to open up Google Forms. And first thing I'm going to do, of course, is give it a title. And I thought I was going to go with something for kindergarten, adding to 10, for example. So I figured that if I can just for a kindergartner, then you can apply this to whatever grade level that you teach. So there's a little description I can put in there. This is for my kinder, adding to 10, something like that would be fine. And then I can start asking questions. A nice one to start with could be, hey, what is your name? Right, and then we can put first name, I can put last name, depending on how you want that to look. Spoiler, when we're done, you can bring this into a spreadsheet. So you can sort things, you can filter things. So if you want more than just name, kindergarten is probably all I need to say, what is your first name and your last initials, however you want to train your kids to do that. That would be just fine. So maybe I want to do that, I can put first name and last initial. And if I want to add a little description here to my question, I can click on the 3 little ice cream scoops. And there's one that says description, show the description. So I can maybe put an example in here if I wanted to. All right. Miles B. That could be something like that. There you go. Or if I wanted to put just name up top, and I could put, let's get rid of all that. And up in the question, I can just put, hey, what is your name? Give me the first name and last name. And so we'll come with a couple of the benefits like I mentioned before, the spreadsheet. If you do that, this will keep your columns, the columns shorter. You'll just say name, and it's a little bit easier to look at. The longer your question is, right, that spreadsheet column is going to be pretty big. So there's a couple different ways you could do that. There we go. Yep, so we're kind of working with that. So there's just a quick question. I start with their name. To add a new question, you have your little bank on the side. So I'm going to click on the little plus. +3. And right now it says, hey, this is probably a multiple choice question. So Google kind of looks at your question and will kind of give you an idea. And then I can go through and say, all right, 4. So we'll make them some suggestions at the top, like 2 or 1. If I say, yeah, add those, I can click on them and boom, there they are. A couple other things we can do is I can let me come over here and add an image to that little mountain, the same little icon you see in Sheets or Google Docs or Slides, add an image. So if I want to add an image to something, I have several different options. I can turn on my camera. I can paste in some kind of URL. I'm going to go to your photos, Google image search. I'm going to go to my Google Drive. And I created, I believe it's for this one, 2+3. I'm going to search my Google Drive. I'm going to find that image that I just made. Here it is. I can make it better than this, but let's see what it turns out to be. There we go. So I have a little 2+3 little icon so students could see an image in there. Perfect. If I want to move this image above, there's these little waffles, half-eaten waffle, if you will. So I'm going to, and you hover over top to see 4 little arrows. I'm going to click and hold down and just kind of drag that up a little bit and drop it. Again, those half-eaten waffles, get the little arrows, click on it. You can move it where you want. So I could say, this is an image title. And if I want to put the image in here again, a 2+3, the question if I want to. If not, I could just leave it off, and that's just fine. So now I have name, I've got a picture, I have a question. Awesome. Now if I want to go to the next question, I'm going to click on the plus button. And when you click the plus button, it will always add a question right underneath where you are. So if you notice, I was over here on the image. And if I hit the plus button from here, it's going to put a new question right underneath it. And oops, my 2+3 is kind of messed up. No worries. I just grabbed the half-eaten pancake waffle and drag it up, and so there it is. And here's my next question. I'm going to do 4 + 5, and +8, whatever I want to put in there. Next, I'm going to show you the next thing. The cool tip is the little preview. Like, what will this look like for students? So as I'm going along and creating a form, I like to use that preview button to say, what will my students see? Students are going to see, what's my name? They're going to see this picture. They're going to see my first question. They'll see the second question, third question. And some of my students, maybe it's just me, but some of my students, they see 4 or 5, 5, 10 questions, like they start freaking out. So if I want them to see just one question at a time, there's a feature called sections. So I'm going to get right here 2+3. I want to create a new section between my next question right here. This little magic button, kind of 2 hamburgers, add a section. And now it says section 2 of 2. So the first top part is section 1. Here is section 2. And I can give this and that way it makes it nice and big. And I'll show you what that looks like in the preview. Why I like that sometimes. As for options, so this time, instead of just making this multiple choice, let's change this up. I mean, I'll put click all that are correct. And I'm going to change this from a multiple choice to maybe I want to use this as a checkbox. So a checkbox, you'll notice the difference. They actually turn into a little square versus the circle. The circle, when a student clicks on it, they can only choose one option. This will say choose all that are correct. And maybe I'm going to put in here something like, what if I do like 3 plus 6 as an option? Press the enter button. I could put the number 9. I could do 1 plus 8. And maybe I could do like a 3 plus 7, so that one's wrong. All right, so there we go. I put some other question in. Same thing for the, I'll put that in a new section. So I'm going to come back up to click all that are correct, click the add section button, and now I'm in section 3, 7 plus 8. And I'll leave that question right there so you can see the difference of what a section looks like. So let's go back up to our little eyeball, the preview. And when I click on that, it opens a new tab for me to look at. So again, here's what students will be seeing. Adding to 10, name, and it gives me a little initials. Here's a picture. Here's my first question. So again, if I click on one of those circles, I can click on more than one. It just moves it to whatever the answer is. Click the next button. Oh, I have to answer this question because it's required. I'll show you that. So maybe my name is Miles P. There we go. So I have to answer that before moving on. Here's check all that are correct. You notice that I can put a check mark in however many I want to, or all of them, before moving on. Now here comes the next one. So in here we have the top, the 7 plus 8, it's in the purple section. That is in the section. The 7 plus 8 in the white space is the question. And so sometimes if I'm going to put making a quiz, I want to put either all of my questions in the section, so that way it kind of highlights it in a different color, or the 7 plus 8, if I want the white space, that's fine too. It's kind of your choice of how you want to set that up. Just be consistent, because here I have like a 4 plus 5 and it says check all that correct. Again, I like that little feature. Maybe you don't, and that's just fine. You can change that around, and let's see how that would look. So I'm going to close this tab. And let's say now I want to 4 plus 5. I'm going to say, let's highlight, click all that are correct. I'm just going to change that, and down here is going to be 4 plus 5. Let's see how that's going to look. So the preview button. And again, I got to type something in here just to move on as practice. And then now you see how it's different. Click all that are correct is in purple, and your question is in the white space. Kind of some nice options for you. All right, let's look at, so yep, leave, skip that. Let's say I want to add a video in here. I want to help my students, because now we're moving in from just 2 weeks. We're going till May 1st at least. Let's maybe add a tutorial. Let's give them some help before we can start this. So maybe you can create a video with Google Forms. You can add a video in from YouTube. Before I do that, I just noticed one thing. One of my pet peeves, adding to 10, I didn't click the untitled form. When I do that, right, make sure you give it a name. That way it's easy to find your form. All right, now after name, let's say in this section, I just want to give a quick little video. So I'm going to click add video, and it says, let's do a Google search. Or if I already found a video, let's say I went to YouTube, I found this really cute video on adding up to 10, I can copy the URL. How do I do that? I can click on the URL, it turns blue. I can click Control C, or I can right click and say copy. I'll come back to my Google form, and I could paste it here, that URL, and click search, and it's going to find that cute video. Or I could go to URL, and it says paste the YouTube URL. So you can't link from Google Drive. You can't link from Zoom. It has to be from YouTube. So there it is. And I say select, and it now puts that cute little video in. So maybe I want that first. So let's put another section in there. So maybe I want my kids say, hey, here's a, hey, watch this video and then answer the questions. Something like that. So now they have to kind of watch this. If you even want to add one more level on there, I could add a quick question so they can't just click off it. Did you watch the video? All right. Oh, look at that. I was hoping Google would do that. Suggestions. Yes, no, maybe. So if I say, I can click on yes, I can click on no, and that makes it nice and easy. Okay, so now let's preview that. What will that look like for students? Adding to 10, here's my name. Watch this video, answer the question. So they can just click on the video. It's gonna play it. Oh, okay, so good question. Miles is like, hey, if we get to the very end of this, I'm gonna mute that. And let's skip to the very end. Let's see what happens. It's still playing, gonna get just a little bit farther. Close up some of these ads, and that's what it takes them to. So there's another little option of a different video, but it won't pop up everything. Yes, if they want to watch it in YouTube, they want to watch it full screen, some kids might want that. They can't click this, it's unavailable, full screen is unavailable for in forms, which is nice, but if a student, it will, yep, it will open that up in YouTube because they want to see it full screen. All right, watch it, click next, and then of course it's going to take us to one question at a time. For my students, they really like that. Hey, just break it apart. They don't get overwhelmed. Don't get anxious about taking a quiz or a test. All right, let's close that up. Let's come back to, there we go. Got it. All right, one of the things we're gonna look at now is, this is kind of boring, right? And for those lower grade teachers, we gotta make sure we codify this a little bit. So one of the quick things you can do is come up to the palette and it says customize theme. When I hover over top, I'm gonna click on the palette and I can choose a different color. I can choose orange, right? There we go. I can change the background color a little bit. So there's some little adjustments for this quiz. I can change the font style. There's not too many here, but you have just 4 options. I'll leave it on basic, that's fine for today. But one of the fun things you can do is choose a header, choose an image. So I'm gonna click on that. And maybe, since we're looking at maybe a kindergarten example, there's one that says just for kids. Here we go. My daughters love little princess. Of course, the boys might not. Hey, let's use, that one's cute. All right, let's insert that. When I do that, it's going to change the color to kind of go with this picture, but I can still adjust a few things depending on how I want to do that. Change the background, maybe a little bit darker. Do something there to make this kind of fun. So if you like it, great. If you don't, you can just come back again to the theme, the little palette, and then I can click the X to get rid of that image. Let's choose a new image. And it's pretty easy to go through. Maybe my kids want, hey, a basketball theme or something. I could insert that. There we go. It changes the color. I can change a few things here. Again, to make it a little bit darker or lighter, whatever works for you. There you go. So that makes it cute. Got it covered that. Check. All right, now we're talking about how do we turn this into an assessment? That's kind of the big idea, an assessment. So I'm going to come up to the gear, which is the settings, and we're going to explore those. The first is general, and it says collect email addresses. So that's a nice way to make sure, like, all right, who's logging in, name, but this would verify the name, so a kid couldn't put in, hey, yeah, I'm Miles, but really it was Greg who was doing it. So this will collect the address that they're logged into, like a Chromebook or on Google Chrome. So you can kind of verify that, yeah, that was the right kid. Kind of a nice safety feature. The next one is response receipts. So if you want to send your students the how they did, right, immediate feedback, you can say this, you'll kind of see, there we go. Respondents, right, will they receive a copy of what they answered? This could be a nice feature. If they request it, they probably will skip over that because it's new. I would just say always. And that way, when they're done the quiz or your form, it will just send them email to the whatever email they used. You'll say, here's how you did, or here's the answers that you gave. Do you want to restrict this to Nebo district users? Means the student would have to be logged into Chrome. This may be good, it may not be. If a parent is logged into Chrome and a student's trying to use that to answer, then that could cause a problem because they would not be able to access your form. So you might want to uncheck that. Right, and so that would also kind of, you know, it just kind of mess things up. So I just probably uncheck that right now. If it's for school purposes, like for your colleagues, teachers, that would be a good one to use. Next question would be, do you want to limit this to one response? Is this a summative assessment? Then yeah, I want to get one shot, that's it. Or are you going to use this Google form for teaching purposes? Like, all right, maybe they missed 5 out of the 10 questions. Can they take it again? Can they take it again and again? And not put a limit on that. If you check the box, they get one shot, and that's it. So that'd be a nice way for a summative. Next, respondents can they edit after they submit it? Like, oh shoot, I forgot to answer that, or I answered the wrong answer. You want them to edit. Again, if you're going to allow more than one shot, then say no. The students will get that email saying, was it right? Was it not right? See summary of charts? Probably not for us. If you're just using a Google form for a presentation, it would kind of say, hey, how far along are you? So students want to see sometimes like, hey, how many questions there are? There's 10, and I'm on question 3. That little bar will start here, and it will go longer and longer as the closer I get to being finished. I could shuffle question order if I want to. That way, if I was in class and I'm worried about 2 kids sitting next to each other, I don't want them seeing the same question. That could be a good option. Here we're at home. Not a big deal. Do I want to show a link to submit another response? Again, depending on what your purpose is. If you want them to take the quiz again, sure, show them a link to say, hey, click here and you can take it again if you didn't get the score you wanted. Kind of a nice feature. And that way kids can take the test over and over again. And someone's checking chat, right? I see something's popping up. Cool. Confirmation message. So when they're done, say, may I put here, hey, great job. If you want to take this quiz again, use the link, right, provided, something like that. Of course, I've tried to change that for kindergartners. Say, hey, good job. If you want to take it again, click on the link. That could work too. Let's go to quizzes. Now, here's how we get to the fun part of making this a quiz. So on the quizzes tab, it says make this a quiz, you bet. I'm going to turn that feature on. There is an option for locked mode on Chromebooks, but the problem is with at home, I'm not sure if 100% of your students are on a Chromebook. What this would do though is it would lock that tab so they couldn't go anywhere else. They'd have to stay on this tab or on this form, this quiz. So they can't open a new tab in Google search and answer, for example. Again, because we're not in school, I probably would not check that box because again, kids are on a Chromebook anyway. They could be on a tablet or a laptop. Next, when do you want to release the grade? Do you want to do that immediately after they submit it, which probably good, right? Immediate feedback is great. Or do you want to do that later after the teacher looks at it?
As Charles
That
takes
was me, sorry.
there, you're
I
good.
just need a little bit of water, I've been talking a lot.
For those that have been coming in, Leanne, Richard, and Cynthia, if you guys wouldn't mind opening up your chat and typing in your name, your what grade you teach, and what school you're from, just so we can keep some records for us on our end and how we can follow up with you. Appreciate
Awesome.
it. Thank you.
Thanks. Here's one of my favorite features is the respondent can see. So when they get that email back, what do you want them to see? You want to see which questions they missed? Sure. Do you want to show the correct answers? This option I turn off. That way they can see, oh, I missed that question, but it won't show them what the correct answer is. Again, good practice when they're going to go back and take the quiz multiple times. And that's kind of what I'm showing you right now. If you're showing them just one time, say, hey, you get one shot and that's it. If you want to show the right answers, you could. Some teachers like to say, hey, you missed it, go back and answer, fix your mistake, and you can get partial credit or something. Google Forms is a nice way to allow for multiple attempts, and it will grade it for you, a time saver for teachers. So I love that. If you want to show point values, you can show point values. And now this is one of the few times that you actually have to click the save button in Google. So I'm going to click save on all those settings. One thing I'm going to show you as well is when I'm making a quiz and I'm going to add points to it, you'll now see that this is a quiz. So if I click on name, for example, it says answer key and there's worth 1 point. Well, a name's not really worth 1 point unless you really want that to be. By default on your side, if you haven't changed this one preference, it will say 0. So let me show you what I did real quick, and we'll come back to the quiz. So the 3 little ice cream scoops, and scroll all the way down. Oh, here's 2 tips. One, you can add a collaborator. So if I want to work on this with Greg, for example, I can say add a collaborator. And oh, look at that. I already have Heather's in there. But here's Greg, and maybe my team. I'll put Miles on there. Katie wants it too because she's raising her hand. And they can edit. Thanks, Katie. There is a little pencil. I could add a little message like, hey guys, here's our adding to 10 quiz for today. Oh, I'll change that for you, Heather. There you go. Can't edit, Heather. Sorry. I can save changes. It's going to go through and say, send these guys a little message so they know here it is. You can collaborate, share things. Done. So now I just shared that they can come on and add things. Don't do that. Next, by preferences, the 3 ice cream scoops, come down to preferences. So if you're doing a lot of these forms and you don't want to make every collecting email address, turn that on every time, you can just check that box. So we'll collect their email address. You can also make questions required, and by default, change the point value to 1. You can change that to 10, 5, whatever you want. You can just click on that and say, let's make every question 10 now, 10 points, and click save. So when I come back, that's why mine still says 1 from that default. Yours will probably say 0. So to change that, I'm going to click on answer key. I'm going to change this so, nope, sorry, you get 0 points for answering your name, but thank you so much for playing. Click done. 0 points. What you'll notice is at the top of my Google form, it will tell me how many points are there total. Right now there's 4. Let's come down to, did you watch the video? I'll give them a point for that just for fun, right? So there's 1 point, and I'm gonna click on answer key. But now how do I know what that point's for? You need to check the right answer. So the answer is yes. If they answer yes, they get 1 point. Good job. And come down to the next section. Here's my 2 plus 3. I'm gonna click on answer key and choose the right answer. Plus a little check mark, worth 1 point. Maybe I'll make this one worth 10 points because I said I would. 10 points, click done. And now you'll also notice the little green little check mark. Sometimes, right, you go through and you're like, oh, how come all the kids missed this one question? And you check your answer key and go, oh, I marked the wrong answer. So this gives you a quick way to double check that little check mark is for the 5. Yep, I've made sure that that's the right answer. Here we go. The next one is, I'm gonna give more points for this. I'm gonna go answer key, and we know here's my right answers. And again, I'm gonna give this one 10 points. Click done. Come down to our 7 plus 8, same thing. Great. Yep, come back to that. So there's kind of my quiz, right? And so to get full points for 7 plus 8, oh, I didn't put any answers in here, did I? Let's do that real quick. Enter button, 13, 17. Answer key, I can come back and put the right answer in there. That's important. If I want to do, let's come back to that question first. So the checkbox, to get all 10 points, the student must click all 3. If you have 3 correct answers or 2 correct answers, whatever you click, they must choose all 3. If they don't, they get 0 points. That's where that manual teacher can come in and kind of give them partial credit. You can do that as well. But that'd be an important thing to notice. If they don't, then students have to go back. Let's add a new section first. Oops, I put it in the wrong spot. That's okay. Can I move this down? There we go. Click on the 3 ice cream scoops, move section, and it says, where do you want to move it? It's untitled. So again, the half-eaten waffles, I'm just going to click and drag it down and click save. There we go. So now when I scroll down, there's section 4, here's section 5, and I'll just put a 5 in there. Let's add a question, And just for time's sake, let's do something a little bit hard, more challenging. Plus 13. Ooh, that's not kindergarten now. And again, notice that it made it required, and the 10 points. If it wasn't required, it would just be turned off like so. I can just turn that back on, and there we go. If I like a section, like, ooh, this is a really good section, I can use the 3 ice cream scoops, and it says duplicate section. So if you have something in there already, like that's a good thing, save yourself some time. I can say duplicate. It will then duplicate everything. If I shrink my screen just a little bit, there we go. So you can see the 5 and the 5, and it has my little format in there. This could save you time. And then you have to go back through and just adjust the question, but everything would be set up for you. Okay, let's do this one, say, just for fun, you know, how are things going at home with at-home learning? Let's change this to, let's see some other options you can use. There's a short answer. There's a paragraph. So say short answer. There's a drop-down menu. We'll come back to that one in a second, but say how are things are going? Maybe a short answer. Great. Next one, let's do something. What is it? Gotcha. So yeah, let's say this time, let's change that then. Explain how to find, or let's enter the answer for 3 plus 2. There we go. And so if I were to I can change my question, and it says here, add a correct answer. Well, the answer is going to be 5, or I could add another correct answer and type in 5. This will be case sensitive, so I could put a capital in there. Yes, for kindergartner, my typing in 5 probably wasn't the most appropriate thing, but if they spell that correctly, but maybe for, you know, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, or higher grades, that might be something you could put in there for a spelling test, for example. Anything else? I could check the little box, say mark all other answers incorrect. I could add some feedback, like oops, did not work there. Click on here, keep trying. Or I could add a video, say, oh, they missed that one. Here's a little help video or a link to a page that could help them. A nice way to help students, again, during that little quiz. There we go. I could change that question, this correct answers. That's it. Oh, it's done. Yes, thanks. Let's go back up. And I can probably just go back to, what's the 3 plus 2? There we go. Cool. So now we have, I'll put here something with a short answer. Let's change this up. They could explain something. And we'll change that to a short answer. Paragraph is something similar, but it's allow for more text to come in. Other ideas, a drop down. Let's look at that. So I'm going to add a new section. And this, let's see, what could we pick? This is a good one. Who is your teacher? So if your team is using the same form and you want to gather up all this data into one Google Sheet, I think it's awesome. Then you'll say add a question. And again, it's like, let's change this to a drop down. And our options are, do you have Peterson? Do you have Crockett? Do you have Hanosek? So there you go. And say, oh, I want to put this one at the top. So again, to move this whole section, I can click on the 3 dots, move section, and then it says, who is your teacher? Grab those little half-eaten waffle, bring it all the way up, maybe section number 2, maybe, and say save. So now go back to the top. It's going to say, item 10, what is your name? Watch this video, move down to who is your teacher? Again, let's take a quick preview. How will this look for students? Now we have our theme, it's cute. I have item 10. Again, it's asking for my email address. I probably should turn that back to collect it automatically. I'll change that. But it probably is going to make me put something in here. So let's just add some things in so you can see. There's your first name. Did you watch the video? Yes. Click next. Who is your teacher? Here's that pull down arrow, and we can choose who the teacher is. If you want to repeat this, who is your teacher down here, nothing wrong with that. Next. Here is our next question. What's 2 plus 3? The kid answers it. And then let's say we go through some of those, hit next. We'll get these wrong so you can see how that looks. Let's say the student says 5. Next, explain what am I doing at home. There we go. And the last thing it says submit. Let's see what happens. So it says, great job. If you want to take the quiz again, use the link provided. It's right down here. It says submit another response. Here's also allows the student to view their score. Let's click on that so you see what the students would see. Well, let's see. I got 21 out of 61. I think I'm going to take this quiz again. It's going to go through. It says, oh, yep, I got that one right. Oh, I didn't put a right answer. I got to change that. Who's your teacher? Okay, let's fix that. And down here says, yep, got it right. Ooh, right? I got this one right, but I still have it wrong altogether, which means something is still not, I got to add one of these two for students. Yep, that one's fully wrong. And we know that 12 is not the right answer. 5, I got it right. Short answer, this is the best. So I got to do some cleaning up then back on the forms. We're going to close those up. Let's go back to our form. And it says, who is your teacher? And it's giving them 10 points. Let's change that answer key. And we can just change that to a 0, no points. Perfect. There it is, right? Choose answer key. I could click on all of them, and that way they're all right. No matter which one they click on, click done. Perfect. Okay, next section. We added something right here. 5 was good. Which one else was wrong? Explain. Oh yeah, we didn't put any kind of correct answer in here. All right, so this one, maybe we're not going to give any points. This might be something, or maybe give them 10 points and say the teacher might grade it later if you're doing a short answer. Kind of depending on how you want to do that. Hit done. That works. All right, let's pause here and let's look at the chat. Are there any questions? Or if you,
Well, let's go first. And I think these are all going to be taken place there. Go to the response section.
okay. So let's take a. Okay. So let's look at, this is the questions. Let's go to the response tab. And right now it says I am accepting responses. That will is turned on. When I'm done, I can just click that off, and it right nice and red says no longer can take this quiz.
Maddie, does that answer the question for you? She asked if you could schedule it. I don't think you can schedule
You can't. No, it's manual.
but you can turn it off so it doesn't accept responses.
Correct. Let's say I'm going to turn that back on. I'm going to go through this quiz one more time, the preview. And I'm just going to add a couple things in here. Oh, that's why I wasn't changed the email address. I'm just going to click on a few things. Let's say they put no. Peterson, I would fix that. Let's say they got that one right. This kid's going to be really smart. We'll give him all right. Let's just set number 5 in. And submit. So now we have 2. I'll close up that tab. And now you'll see at the top, there's 2 students that have responded. The nice thing about Google Forms, it shows me what's my average. This one has 21 points. The next student has 40 points. Perfect. It even kind of gives you an average, a median, a range. How awesome is that? I can scroll down and look at the email address, what their score is, when that was released. If they take it multiple times, awesome. Shows them what the kids' names are, how did they do, how many kids watched or not. It breaks it down by each question. So you can kind of see how the data is going to look this way with just using Google Forms. Now let's go back up to my favorite, spreadsheets. There's a little magic button right here, the little green one. And if I hover over top one more time, it says create a spreadsheet. Let's do that. Create a spreadsheet. I could rename it. It's nice. Google just makes it the exact same name, adding to 10, but it puts the word responses after. And I can say create that new spreadsheet. From here, you can then go through and filter out. Here's my name. You watch the video. Here it is, the teacher. And we didn't put anything in there, did we? Who is your teacher? And so I could sort this by Mr. Crockett's class, Mrs. Peterson's class, Mr. Hounsey's class. It also showed me their score off to the side, which would be really nice. There we go. But spreadsheets is a whole nother day, so let's just stay with Google Forms. But we can come back and do a lot of stuff with Google Sheets. Okay, what other questions do we have from the?
Cynthia gave something formatted as well that asked about scheduling it. In Google Classroom, if you create a quiz, Classroom itself, then you can schedule it.
All right, let's do that. Let's go back to Classroom. That was one thing I was going to bring up too. We're ready for it. So in Google Classroom, if you want these scores to automatically go to your grades, let's go to my practice class. Let's go to classwork. So let's say I want to create an assignment for students. I'm going to go to create, but instead of going to normal assignment, I want to go to quiz assignment. This, you'll notice it creates a Google form for me automatically. Let's go adding to 10. And this time now, I'm going to add the one I just created, add from Google Drive. And because the recent is turned on, that's my blank quiz. There it is, adding to 10, that's my quiz. I can add that in here as well. And it also gives you that locked mode features. I'm not gonna worry about that. Instructions, hey, take this quiz as many times as you want to get at least 50 out of 60 points, or whatever percentage you want to put in there. I wouldn't give percentages to students. That's still hard even for 5th and 6th graders. But say, hey, make sure you take the quiz as many times as you want to get a good grade, or to get at least 60, 50 out of 60 points, something like that. You could work on. Notice that at the bottom it says grade importing. So if a student were to take this test 5 times, right? First they get 10 points, then they get 15, then they get 25, they get 35. Eventually they get 50 out of 60. This will import the highest grade, highest score into your grade book. We're gonna sign up for all students. Yes, we can put a due date on here, but I don't think that's gonna turn off. It's scheduling it wise. But you could say, hey, have it done by this time. You would still have to go in as a teacher to the settings and turn that off. But I could schedule it, you bet, right? Instead of assigning it, I'm say, I'm gonna save this or schedule it and say, let's have this come out maybe on Monday the 30th, perfect. So Monday the 30th, this will go live, 8 a.m., sounds great. Let's schedule that to go out. And there's my quiz. It says scheduled to come out on the 8 o'clock, 8 a.m., Monday. What else? Anything else from the chat? Mm-hmm. Yes, you can, right? So if I say someone's asking in the chat, can you create the quiz straight from Google Classroom? You bet. Quiz assignment. It's going to create a quiz right here for you. Maybe this one is going to be adding to 20. Ooh, adding to 20. And here we go. Or let's do something sciencey. Science. Let's do like parts of a plant. And again, I'm trying to use a younger grade example, just so that you can see if a younger grade can do it, upper grades, we can do this for volume, use it for social studies or for science. It was so nice to do that when students came into my classroom. Then this blank quiz, I can just click on it. It's gonna open up, and here I can create my quiz right there. This would be my parts of a plant. Click on blank quiz. Let's change that name as well, so it's easy to find later. Parts of a plant, and I can go through and build my quiz right here. Great question. Great question. And again, that's great integration between Google Classroom and Google Forms. Anything else as you're kind of asking questions?
Looks like we've answered most here. Is there anything else? Oh, does it work in Seesaw? I'd imagine, because you can put a link in. I'd imagine you can do that.
You could add that link in. Yeah. Oh, let's talk about that. Two more
Katie,
things.
have you tried that, adding a form to stuff? Just
Yeah. Yes. Let's talk about this. Is one of the errors that I had a teacher working with, and she was frustrated. Like, hey, how come the link's not working for my kiddos? So one of the things you don't want to do is, if I'm back on questions or back in my Google form, we're not going to click and highlight this URL and send it to students. That's not going to work. So let's talk about how do we send it out to students. So there's a magic send button. Click the send button. Now you have different options. If I want to send this out through an email, I could just type in the emails of all of the kiddos who are here. And yes, it will blind carbon copy this email to them, or BCC, blind carbon copy, so that they won't see who I'm sending this to. I could also put a little message in here, and I can send that out to students. That's one way. Another way, for like Seesaw, it's a great idea, is the magic link button. This is my preference. It just says, here's a link. I can copy that link. Or if I want to shorten it, I could click the little checkbox. It'll shorten it for me. And now I can click copy. It's going to say copy to clipboard at the bottom. Just click copy, go to Seesaw, and when it says link, add this link in there for you. One of the things that I love about Forms is let this do the work for you. Instead of spending half an hour to create a quiz, go to the copy center, copy it 30 times for my 35th graders, give it in class, and take the time to grade it after school. Using Google Forms can save you a lot of time, because you can do all that. We spend probably about just under 45 minutes, right? But imagine all that time. Now I can use this though for sending it to students who are at home if they're sick, if they're on vacation, if we're at home during coronavirus. A lot of different options for you, and saving teachers time. Is there anything else you just want to throw in there?
I think we're good. Doreen, did that answer your question? Okay. Any other questions before we call it an end?
If you want to unmute your mic, that would be great. And if not, I'll show you one more thing. If I've overwhelmed you, don't worry. We are recording this. At the end, I'll show you our website where we're going to house this, as well as the chat. So we'll have both features, the recording and the chat, on our website. This is kind of a cool feature, just to kind of let you know this is available as well. Let's come down to, let's say we want to do enter what's the answer for 3 plus 2. All right. So now we say, all right, what's 3 plus 2? The 3 little ice cream scoops. There's a way that says response validation. So I'm going to put response validation. This would be good for a formative assessment, or maybe more of a learning idea rather than just an assessment. It says, all right, here's the correct answers. Now my response validation is number, and I wanted to choose that as I want this to be equal to, but there's different options you can see. I want this to be equal to the number 5. And if they don't get it right, it says custom error text. Maybe it's like almost. Keep trying. There we go. And so that is a nice feature. Again, the 3 little ice cream scoops, that response validation. Let's move this question up.
Pam has raised her hand. What's your question, Pam?
So we can see with this one a little faster.
I was just practicing raising my hand. I just
Oh, okay.
noticed.
Great.
All right. Let's show you what that response validation is going to look like here. Let's put an @ symbol in there. I'm putting AOL because no one better have an AOL, I hope. That's so old. All right, choose my teacher, hit next. Okay, response validation. Let's say I put a 4 in here, and I try and go on. It says, oops, almost, keep trying. All right, maybe the answer is 8. And again, it's going to give me that little error message, and it won't let me move on until I get this correct, because the question is required, and that response validation, it has to be a valid answer before I can move on. So now let's say I type in, ooh, I misspell 5, right? That now I put it one more time, click next.
It's because you had equal to the number 5. You didn't give.
Oh, I put an actual number 5 in. There we go. And now it's going to let me move on. Perfect. But that's kind of how that response validation works. Could be a nice little feature. Let's come back to that question. There we go. Equal to 5. And so I want to change my correct answers then to be just the number 5. Yep. Cool. I go boom, boom, and done. Awesome.
You might then want to also put there to also keep trying, and then maybe even say, don't write the word out. What's its numerical or something like
yeah,
that.
please use a digit, right? A number. Don't spell it. Perfect. You can give a little feedback that way for students. Okay. Last thing, this one is really cool. If you want to differentiate a little bit of your quiz, right? Or maybe it's something learning. Hey, we're going to put this for a learning idea, not just an assessment. Is watch the video, and then students, let's say this is question number 1. The 3 little ice cream scoops in the bottom of your question. Oh, I already have that.
It's below that, the continue to the next section.
There we go. Yeah.
After this section.
There we go. Thank you. So when I'm done, it says, where do I want this question to go? Oops.
And multiple choice will also show that. Multiple choice gives you more options with it.
Cool. Oh, we picked a short answer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So where do I want this to go? Maybe I want this to go to, I'm already on section 3. Let's just go to section 4 with the picture so I can see what that's going to look like. Now we have multiple choice. There we go. And there it is. With the multiple choice question, you have a go-to section based on answer. So now I say, all right, I'm going to turn that feature on. You'll notice that to the right of each answer, it says, where do you want to go? Well, if they get 2 plus 3, let's say they get it wrong, I want them to go maybe back to
So watch the video.
Watch the video, right? I can say, let's go back and watch the video. Say, go to section 1. So if they get it wrong, let's go to section 1. I'm just kind of making this up. It's not quite fixed there, but you'd have a section that, hey, there's a section for go watch a video. But if they get it right, and we're on section 4, then yes, I want them to go to section 5. They can go to section 5. And so that way, if a student gets one wrong, you can have a little help section built right into your Google form. And maybe, again, it's another video that they could watch and they go, oh, okay. And again, the same thing. Now they answer whatever this is, maybe it's section 4 or 5. And so they go to section 4, they watch the video again, and now they can move on and come back and try to answer this question in section 4 one more time.
I think that if they get the question wrong, 2 plus 3, you need to take them back to who is your teacher?
Hey, this is kindergarten. We're going really, really slow. But that would be a good idea. But there's a couple different, that's a nice way to go through, and you can build some helps in there for your students. So if they get an answer wrong, kick them back to a certain section. That could be, maybe it's just a video. So let's do that real quick. Let's add another section, and let's call this help. And we're gonna add in here a video, and I'm just gonna use that same video link as before to make this easy. Let's say this is my help section, is section 5. So now I'm gonna go back to, oops, I lost it, didn't I? Oh, this is it, 2 plus 3. All right, so they don't get the 2 plus 3. Now I'm gonna say, oh, there it is, says help. That's why I like putting that section in something nice. Help. This kid here, yeah, he needs help. Thanks, Pam. And that kid needs help. That's section 5. But because this kid got it right, he can skip section 5 and go right to section 6. Down here in section 6, right, we have the help video. I'm going to add another question. And this, are you ready to try that again. And of course, the only question I'm going to put on there this time is yes. So I want to try that question again, which is really section number 4 with 2 plus 3. Are you ready to try it again? Yes. I'm going to click on the go to section based on answer. Go to section, and there it is, 4. So what this is going to do is they're going to go to section 4, this question right here, 2 plus 3. If they get it wrong, they'll go to section 5. Section 5 is the help right here. Are you ready to try it again? It's going to kick them back to section 4. The only way to then progress in the Google form on the quiz, or maybe as an assignment, is to get that question 4 right, and kicks you to section 6. Ooh, a little more advanced, but I wanted to show you that feature because this could be a possibility of how you want to set up a quiz or an assessment. Cool. Is there anything else we want to cover? Okay, thank you so much. Let's show you the last part on the Nebo homepage. Click on the employees homepage. We'll bring up our Learning Home Resources for Teachers. Boom, there it is. Looks good. Underneath the elementary tab, I can scroll down and say Zoom webinars. This is where we're going to be housing this webinar as well as all of our previous webinars. You'll also notice that we're going to be adding in the chat, the webinar chat. You can see that right underneath it so you can remember what question was happening as we go through. Thank you so much for coming out and spending some time with us. Check out this website, Nebo at Home Learning. Great resources there. And we'll have more Zoom meetings starting Monday. Thanks so much. And when you're done, you're done. Greg, back to you.
Okay, I've got the chat saved, so we'll put that on. Thanks, everybody, and we'll see you on the next one. Okay, have a good one. You guys got this.